So, I don't really know how I should go about saying this, but I've encountered a lot of people in my life who've expressed feelings of inadequacy, and they think that they're not special, and they think that they're not worth anything, and they think the contributions and the things that they bring to their lives don't matter. And they think they don't affect people, and they think that, in short, they're just not valuable, and they're not appreciated, and they're not special. And I want to say that that's wrong. It is completely wrong to think any of that is true, no matter who you are. No matter who you are, what mistakes you've made in life, what you've done to others, what others have done to you, your experiences or your lack of experiences, or whatever the fuck you've gone through, that doesn't change your value. That doesn't change you being original and special and valuable and worth so much more than you know. And the saddest part is that a majority of these people are my age. I'm 17 years old, and there are other 17-year-olds and younger who think that they're not worth anything, and who think that they're worthless and they're trash. And that's completely ridiculous to think, because you're not even an adult. You haven't even lived through college, you haven't fallen in love, you haven't gotten married, you haven't explored the world, you haven't gotten a new job, you haven't gotten a house, you haven't lived, you haven't experienced all of the things that the universe has set up for you to experience. And everything happens for a reason, and I know a lot of people get brought down by the experiences that they have, and people might tear you down. And you should, I don't even know where I'm going with this, but you shouldn't let your experiences and your bad things get you down and get to you, because if you know me, I have a tattoo on my ribcage that says, "Flowers grow even after they are stepped on, and so will I." And that is something I hold really close to my heart, because you can be torn down. Life can take you and shake you to the core and tear you down and completely rip you apart. But if this little itty bitty flower can be stepped on and pummeled and still manage to bloom again, so can you. No amount of shitty experiences or anything of the sort can ever tear you down, and you shouldn't feel like your bad experiences define you, and they define that you are a person who has been torn down and is therefore not worth anything, because that's not true. If you feel like you've hit rock bottom, you cannot go any lower. There's nowhere lower for you to go. The only way that you can go is up. So when you think everything is so shitty, and I'm always gonna feel this way, and I'm never ever going to feel happy again, you're at your bottom, and you're just gonna get better. It's only gonna get better from there. But it's only going to get better if you let it get better. You can sit around, and you can mope, and you can feel bad for yourself, and you can cry and feel pity and self-hatred, and you can do that as much as your little heart desires, but eventually it's going to tear you apart. And once you start letting yourself think, okay, it's time for things to get better, it's time for me to get better, it's time for me to be positive, and it's time for me to be good again, that's when you'll start getting better. Because that's exactly what I did. I hit rock bottom. I wanted to die. I tried to overdose. I tried to end my life. And I wanted to for a really long time. And it wasn't until I actually sat down and I decided, okay, I'm tired. I'm tired of feeling this way. I'm tired of dragging myself down all the time. And it wasn't until I sat down and I said that to myself that I actually made the necessary changes in my life. And it'll show it backwards on here. I have this nifty little tattoo. It says, "This too shall pass." And it means that everything in life is temporary. The weather is temporary. Your emotions are temporary. Your responsibilities are temporary. The only thing that's not temporary would be the decision to end your life over problems that are temporary. Because as I always used to tell myself when I was younger, suicide is a permanent solution to a temporary problem. And that's not going to fix anything for you, because everything shitty will pass. It's gonna feel like it won't, and you're gonna feel stuck, and you're gonna feel like, I'm never gonna fucking be happy again. But that's not true. That's not true at all. In the slightest, that's not true. Because everything will pass. Everything shitty, everything awful will go away. And you're not always going to feel like that. People don't realize the decision to end your life wouldn't just affect you ceasing to exist. It would affect every single person around you. And people can say that suicide is selfish. And as much as you may disagree with that, it very much is a selfish decision. Not a conscious, selfish decision, mind you, but because people who want to end their lives aren't thinking, my parents are going to be heartbroken to hear that their child is no longer alive. And they're not thinking, my friends are going to cry whenever they watch my favorite movie because it reminds them of me. And every time they go to our favorite fast food restaurant, they're going to cry because they're thinking of me. And every time they read their favorite book, they're going to cry because they lent it to me in the 9th grade. And they still have the pages that I dog-eared in it. They're not thinking, all of my teachers are going to lose their shit when they encounter another new student who reminds them of me. They're not thinking, my significant other or my crush or the person who has a crush on me is going to be scarred now that I'm not around. And they're not thinking, my dog is never going to know why I didn't come home. And they're not thinking about their grandparents or their aunts and their uncles or their cousins or their siblings. They're only thinking of them stuck in this pit of despair and sadness. And they're not thinking of anything else. And so if you're feeling like you need to end your life, and that's absolutely the decision that you want to make, I think you need to reevaluate it. Because you don't know what the people around you are gonna think if you're gone. And you don't know what you have left to experience in life. You don't know any of that. And until you do, how can you think that you'd be better off dead? I just think that's something that people should think about. There is not a single life on this planet that I think is not worth living. You have been given this life, and you have a path, and you have a destiny, and you have a fate, and you will never, ever learn what that is if you end your life. You will never know what life has in store for you. So don't kill yourself. Okay.